Mimi,
Yes, Mr. Abalu.
can we start or what's going on?
Yeah, so we'll start in a few. I'm
Okay,
just
sure.
welcoming those in the lobby. I want to
Okay,
change the settings so that they will join directly without
okay, approval.
great.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing great. Thanks for joining. We are so grateful and happy to have you this afternoon or evening, depending on where you are connecting from. So, you know our culture. We'll just give some few minutes before we kick off today's session to allow those who receive the link with a little bit delay and those who are still connecting. But while waiting, I have my everyday question that I'm asking to the entire audience. Please let us know where you are connecting from. I already see my friend Duncan Ross. Mr. Soe, do you remember Mr. Duncan?
Not
I
really.
think from last week's session, if I recall well.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, I see.
So hello, Mr. Duncan. Hope you are doing great. All right. So please, if you hear my voice, if my voice is clear, kindly drop in the comment area. How do you call it? Where you are connecting from. We would like to know, please. Let us know where you are connecting from. Let us know where you are connecting from. Yeah, Uganda, Humphrey. Yeah, from Senegal. Bonsoir from Senegal. Emmanuel from Uganda. Adewale from Nigeria. Hello, Mungala from Kenya. Solomon from Nigeria and Gentil from Rwanda. Nice to have you. Yeah, Isume from Nigeria. Joseph, yeah, all the way from Accra. Deborah from Tanzania. Grace, hello from Nairobi. Yeah, from the city in the sun. I miss Nairobi. We were there in 2023 for the Africa conference. It was a great experience. Hello, Rabiu from Ghana. Hello, Gagaga from Tanzania. Waidi from Nigeria. Yeah, Immaculate from Uganda. Hello. Chepu from South Africa and Cyril from South Africa. We are coming from to South Africa in September to celebrate again project management. We say, so wait, will you be part of us this year in Cape Town?
Oh, 100%.
Of
By
course.
God
So,
grace. Yeah.
so all of you here, please, you have an opportunity to meet with the coach in September in Cape Town, where we will have the Africa conference. So just go to pmi.org for more info. Very soon, you are going to open the early bird to participate to the conference, and it's great. You know, last year we were in Kigali, Rwanda. It was a great experience to also meet the PMP candidate from the group. We even had a picture. Unfortunately, the picture is far. I would have shared my screen for you to see how it was great to see everyone there. Yeah, so let's keep it coming. Abdul, how are you from Ghana? Samuel from Zimbabwe. Rose from Angola. Claudian from UK. Okay, great. And we have Paul from Uganda. So let it come, let it come, let it come. We will start in the few. We had some who couldn't join on time, but we are still expecting them. All right, so I guess we also have a full agenda to push. So today we are meeting for another special session. As you know, we are going according to your needs, even though we've planned a session entitled Empowering Virtual Teams, Engagement, Ground Rules, Mentorship, and Emotional Intelligence. This is going to be managed by our dear experts, Mr. Isuwe Abalo, aka Woloyem. But today, I'm sure he's going to deliver value, and value is just to meet the needs, to satisfy the needs of the stakeholders. So without wasting much time, let me hand over to Mr. Sowe to take us through today's session. Mr. Abalo, the floor is yours.
Yes. Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever is your time. I greet you. Just today, I'm not in a very, I would say, energetic mood because I'm just tired. It's been a very hectic and long day and week. However, I will try to do my best for you today. So earlier on the WhatsApp group, I've asked if some of you are interested to have general advices on how to prepare the exam. Often these are topics that sorry, no one really covers, and I found that some candidates are discovering informations usually on the D-Day, on the exam day, they just discover information. However, in our, let's say, mentoring session in my company, these are information we really break out to people usually before they start and before they prepare for the exam. All right. So we will structure this session in two parts. The first part is not, I will call it not planned. So we will talk a bit about the general PMP, what you need to know, what is important, the D-Day, time management, and things like that. And based on how we progress, if we have enough time, we can cover the topic of the day. The topic of the day, it's really about managing people, and it doesn't matter the task, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, 14. The goal is simply the same. Okay, so give me a thumb up if you see my screen. If you are able to see my screen, let me know. Can you see my screen? Okay. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. Perfect. So you can see my screen. That's great. So first of all, for those one who discovered me first time, my name is Osoy Abalo. I'm the CEO and lead consultant for Woloyem Consulting. So on day to day, I'm just training, helping people to clear various exams, not only PMP, PGMP, and many others. Beside that, I dedicate half of, I would say, a great amount of my time volunteering with PMI and other institutions. So I've been ex-member of Francophone Outreach Committee for PMI. I'm one of the person or the people who review in the past PMP and other exam questions. I propose also a few questions in the past. And today I'm really instructing and mentoring and running my company. So that's what I do. My company is also an ATP. That's the reason we are here, providing the providing the mentoring session for you. Personally, I have over 25 certifications. I work for companies like IBM, FNZ, Gemalto, Optaglio, probably you know them, but that's not the point here. So we know from data, this is not emotion or this is not imagination. We know from data that many candidates that or many aspirants to PMP especially, many people start the journey, but they never finish. Our own data is around 15 to 20% of people we train are actually doing what's required to go and pass the exam, right? However, the 20% of our customers who are going through the exam, 99% of them are passing on the first attempt. So this is a bit, but however, we have almost 80% of people who actually never finish the journey. They start and then they block somewhere. So here I'm going to share with you how to get ahead of 99% of people, and so you don't fall into this trap. There is a phenomenon or something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. I'm not sure if you are familiar with that. If you are familiar with Dunning-Kruger effect, please give me a thumb up on the. If you are not aware of that, we can talk about it. All right. So Dunning, these are two people, right? These are psychologists, Dunning and Kruger, right? So this is this they call the research by their own name. So they are saying whenever you start any kind of adventure or learning a new skill, usually you have the level of confidence to study this new skill and the skill to actually do that thing. I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to be an entrepreneur. If you want to start your business, the level of confidence you have to run your business and the skill actually required to run your business. So they categorize this. And then they come up with three phases. So the first phase, as you could see, is at the beginning the skill level to run that initiative. In this case, let's stick with PMP. So usually when people want to do PMP, at the beginning, the confidence level of passing the exam is pretty high. Like they are so confident. Some of them, they have seen some lady clear the exam, and then they will say like, "Oh, come on! If this lady did it, I can do it." So they are like, "Yeah, why not me?" Or they've seen their friend, or they are about to get fired from work, and then they say, "I need to do my PMP so that I'm not in trouble." Or some of them are simply looking for upgrading the skill. So people are doing PMP for various reasons. You can type in the comment what was the trigger for you to go to undertake your PMP, right? So often when I have people on pre-sales, like I'm interested in the PMP, I'm asking them simple question. Why don't you like peace? Right? This is the question I'm asking, and people are laughing. Oh, I don't like peace. Oh, why? I said, well, this is not something you will do at peace. It requires you to sleep less, probably not to sleep, to work overtime. It requires some sacrifices. This is not something you just do by living in your comfort zone, right? So then there is a second stage where theoretically you get more skills as the time passes, you get more skills. However, your confidence level drastically dropped. And then on the third stage, you actually would see your confidence level start increasing while the skills are really increasing, right? So Dunning and Kruger call these three stages, right? The stage three, we will break that down. The stage three is called Mount Stupid, right? This is the name they called it. Mount Stupid means, you just, I remember my first time running business. I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to make it. And, I'm going to be rich and so on, right? You are so confident that you can do the work until you start filing your first bankruptcy, right? Because you fall into the second stage. Second stage is called the Valley of Despair. Why? Yes, you got more skills compared to the beginning. However, uh, for various reasons, you don't see result. Things are not going the way you want. You know, simply as that, and then you fall into trap. So most of PMP students are buried here, right? They are buried here. By the way, I cleared my PMP exam in 2012, and I went there with a friend who actually never did it at the end, right? So uh, this is uh, uh, this is it, right? Then, as you move to the valley of despair, if you keep going, and by the way, if you see my company name means Woloyem, it means keep going. Basically, it's Keep Going Academy. This is my traditional or my language, right? So now, why we are doing this, why I'm sharing this with you, basically on stage one, this is the most dangerous stage most people are, right? So because there is something called dual burden of incompetency. Like you are so confident that you will be able to clear the PMP while not knowing actually what is required to do that. So this is what most people, and then as they start discovering the truth, then they start to get discouraged, right? So the solution on this stage, usually that's why in my company, when we have people, we start using this method since last year, and we move from 15% of people to 50 people, 50% of people. So 50% of our candidates today are able to clear the exam. Simply, we adjusted some methodologies, some processes, some tracking, and so on and so on. But before, it was like less than 15%. So we do what we call pre-mortem analysis. The pre-mortem analysis is simply what I'm doing with you here, just letting you know about this phenomenon, that it exists. So in case you start feeling discouraged, no, there's no witchcraft behind you. No, this is normal, right? So you should know that no one is really no one has tied you with some shrine, or you are under some stone. This is normal process that you start discovering the difficulties, and then simply you start getting discouraged. But there is a solution. In order to now, as you move to the stage two, if anyone is here in stage two, what literally you need to do. So what is how do you know you are in stage two? Loss of confidence, usually due to the fact that you've been trying maybe some simulator, and then you are not scoring high good marks, right? Someone will try this simulator, and then they score like 50%, 35%, and then they are discouraged, right? And then they keep adjusting and they keep failing, and this is discouraging them, right? So, and then you see the time you spend to study, to prepare, and nothing progress. You stagnate, and then you get lost. So actually, the solution here is basically you need some certain coaching, like the reason you are here. I think this is the reason most of you are here. You need a place where you feel that you are probably not alone. Some students will share their struggle. Then you find out like, oh, okay. Personally, I used to, and I'm still attending entrepreneur meetings, because usually as an entrepreneur, you might start a venture and lose, I don't know, 20,000, 100,000 euros. And then you'll be like, oh, Jesus, my world is crashing. And then you go in those meetings with other entrepreneurs, and someone is just telling you, I lost 1 million. And then you suddenly see that 100K for you is nothing. Like you start to feel much better. That's why coaching is important. Being in a group setting like this can help you. Individual, in my company, we do individual coaching. We talk to people one by one. But the most important is that you have to keep going. If you stop, then it stops. You have to keep trying. You have to keep changing, finding, and searching. And as you keep going, then normally and literally, you should be able to steadily moving to the stage three, which is called the slope of enlightenment, where you start to feel real confidence. Maybe after some session like that, you were blind on how to manage people or manage contracts. You say, oh, okay. And you start to feel actually good. Yeah, you start to feel and then you have to keep going, and then that's the stage 3 where you should be able to be ready and go and clear your PMP exam. So most of the guys who are posting that they have cleared the PMP exam, they went through all these stages. So in my company, our goal is to make sure we shorten the we shorten we like yeah we shorten the stage 2 as much as possible, right? In case, so to make the curve not to go so deep, the curve to be just like soup, right? Something like that, right? And next thing, and you'll see why most people are struggling. My own theory is that if you want to learn a topic, there are 4 layers of learning. If you are not using these 4 layers, this is probably the reason you are struggling with the topic. PMP exam, actually, I don't want to say it's easy, but yes, it is. Okay, it is, but it's not easy when you don't understand the game. It's just like if someone gave you a PlayStation and you don't know which button to press, of course, you look like stupid or you look like not smart. In fact, you are not, you are smart. Just like we say, we are all ignorant, but not with the same thing or not for the same thing, right? I can be ignorant in mechanic. Someone, it's not because I am instructing you today that I'm smarter than you. No. Most likely, some of you here, I even don't know how to change oil in my car, for example, right? But, when we come to project management, then yes, I am sharp there. So, but if this is a new topic to you or somehow you are struggling, you need to restructure your learning style. So the way I structure my course is like level 1, things you have to focus on is to understand the logic. Okay, the logic of the project management according to the PMI. So if you see in all my slides, even the one I shared with you last week, we kind of break out the structure to help people understand the way PMI see project management in nutshell. And then the second thing you have to focus on is to understand the concept, like project management approaches, the domain, whatever, all those concepts, right? And then you can add important details and then arbitrary details. So why people get confused is because sometimes they start the PMP and then they are focused on tiny details while forgetting the big picture. And then as the time goes, they get more and more and more confused. And of course, one of the solutions is to come on this kind of training session. I don't want to put blame on anyone instructing PMP course. Personally, when I was, let's say, on your position, I've followed many courses where sometimes I even don't know what they talk about because some people are just reading slides. They are not able to explain. So personally, when you are not able to explain to me the logic why I need to do or why I'm doing something, then I don't understand, right? So this is why the way I instruct, I'm not saying this is the unique way, but I focus more to allow people to understand why they are studying, why project management. So usually in our boot camps, at the first of the first week, we are asking students, now, what do you understand about project management? What is your way of understanding? What is project management to you according to PMI? So everyone should be able to describe this in a big picture. And then we start adding layers and so on and so on. So in case you are not studying this way, I highly encourage you to do so. Take any kind of topic, ask yourself, if do I understand it? So what I mean by arbitrary details, people who focus when they start at historically context of PMI, oh, when did the PMBOK 7 was released? When did the PMBOK 6 was up? These are not useless details, but they are arbitrary. It means they don't help you with the exam. And then important details are like someone just started the PMP and they say, oh, I heard that there are a lot of mathematics and earned value management. These things are freaking me out. Actually, these are things we do day and day, like weekend and every day actually, right? So if you don't understand the concept or even the logic, then yes, you will find them very complicated. So what I call concept are like people, processes, business environment, right? Life cycle, core concept, risk, engagement. These are what I would call concept that you have to understand. But on top of these concepts, there are logics that you need to understand, scenario-based questions, mind map. You have to create your own mind map, right? You need to understand the logic behind certain processes and so on and so on, right? Okay. Now, uh, the exam. Again, I want to explain to you the logic of the exam. I've seen some hand raised. I'm not sure if it's a question. You can type it. I will stop at some point so you can ask all the questions. If you type them, I will read them, but we give you mic to speak at the end of stage one because I don't want to stop the flow. All right. So if you are clearing the PMP exam, you need to know PMI will question you around three things, right? Three concepts. Your ability to manage people, your ability to understand project management processes, and your ability to understand business environment. Full stop. It doesn't matter which book you read actually, whether it's PMBOK or you actually did some other certification that will boost you or whatever. This is how they will instruct you. And in fact, PMI has described that if you are a project manager, these are the things. The slide are in French. Sorry, it doesn't matter. I will replace them and change you, no? So it's okay. Yeah, we instruct a lot in French. This was like I have them in English. Don't worry, right? The same we have the same in English and French. I will replace and give you. So I didn't pay attention. My bad. Okay. So uh, the tasks, right? When it comes to people, you have 14 tasks and then 17 tasks on processes and 4 tasks on business environment. And as we move, as we will move to July 2026, this will change to this, right? Okay, I see that they are all in French. It's okay, no worries. As we did last week, I will share this slide with you. Please stay with me, okay? I will share with them. I will share with them. So as you see, PMI has made adjustments. It means when it comes to people, they have decreased the percentage and they have optimized the tasks, right? You see, so basically it's the same. So here we used to have 14 tasks, now we have 8. You have optimized. When it comes to processes, we used to have 17, now we have 10. And when it comes to business environment, we used to have 4, now we have 8, right? So this is the logic of things you need to understand. And then secondly, till today, till the 31st or 30th of June, the PMP exam is structured that 50% the question are predictive project management and 50% agile and hybrid. So you have literally 90 questions on people, 90 questions on processes, 75 questions on people, and 14 questions on business environment. As we will move to July, so if some of you will pass the exam in July, PMI has changed. They are now saying 60% of the question will be agile and hybrid project management, and 40% of the questions will be predictive project management. And then you have 76 questions on processes, 61 questions on people, and 48 questions on business environment. As you can see, we move from 14 questions to 48 questions on business environment. So business environment has been greatly upgraded. And then we are moving from 180 questions to 185 questions. And always PMI has graded PMP exam with 175. Now we have like 10 questions which are not marked. Maybe you don't know this. So what are these unmarked questions for? PMI when they receive questions from, let's say, volunteers or people who are proposing the questions, they will not just inject the question into your exam and then you just discover, oh, this was hard. So they are doing testing. They test this question on you. So you are kind of guinea pigs. So they will inject in each candidate questions, new questions they are having. So they will evaluate the proficiency of those questions. PMI does not want to give you easy questions because they don't want to make PMP easy. Also, PMI does not want to make PMP exam very hard so that no one even knows what is the answer. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to make sure once they certify that you are a professional in project management, you have a good understanding of on how to run a project. That's why the questions should be recalibrated, right? So if they see that there is a particular question, 100% of candidates are finding this question, then they will conclude that this question is easy, so they will toughen it a bit. And if there are some questions that no one really actually knows what is the answer, then they can conclude that this question is very hard, so let's soften it a bit. So this is the process, the due process. So now on the exam, generally how it works, right? I've did several webinars for PMI, but in French, of course. And I know I'm on the platform, right? So this is a big disclaimer. This is my own imagination. This is not coming from PMI. Whatever I'm saying here, it is my own word, right? So don't go and start suing PMI that they said 30% of questions should be easy, but my exam was all hard or something like that, right? So this is the disclaimer. What I'm saying here, I'm not sent by PMI. It is my own observation. Okay. So my own observation is this: 30% of PMP questions are easy. It means all candidates will find, most like 99% of candidates will find the correct answer. Okay, to this. And then you have around 40% of the questions are medium difficult. It means it requires you to, some kind of analysis before you find. And then 30% of the questions are hard. So literally, if you have a good preparation, and you score, I don't know, 98% on easy question or even 100%, and then you score a very good mark on medium question, and then you try your best on the hard one, find a few of them, you should be able to pass your exam, right? So I hope you know that PMI does not communicate how much percentage you need to pass. Nobody knows this, right? They don't communicate whether you need 60%, 50%, 70%. No one knows, right? So my own assumption is if I try to push my student to score here 98%, it means they almost are in 65, 68. And if they even get 10% here, they should be overall having like 75% to pass the PMP exam. My own imagination is I don't think you need more than 75 to pass, right? So if it's very high, it has to be 75, or maybe a little bit below. I don't know. No one knows, right? So how do you recognize easy questions, right? Easy questions are usually ethics question that require supporting PMI, obvious deliverables, right? This everyone knows it. Then how do you recognize medium questions? In what order things are performed? PMI has three style of questions. They will ask you, what should the project manager do first, do last, do after, this is checking if you know the order, for example, of performing risks, performing, conducting procurement and stuff like that. And then question related to more detailed deliverables, for example, whether you know how to interpret a Kanban board, for example, right? They can give you some images and Kanban board and put some user stories there and then check if you understand these, right? specific vocabulary. So they can give you a question around spikes, right? So if you are not studying for PMP, you will not know what spikes means, right? So this is meant for professional. So someone who didn't study at all for PMP, when he sees spike questions, if he has never seen it in professional life, theoretically he will not get the correct answer. So that's the difference between the one who study and the one who don't, right? But the easier question, even if you don't study, there is a high chance that you get it right, right? And question asking what to do in a particular scenario. So usually this question they ask for you to provide a solution, right? A solution, it means the correct answer is literally what we will do in the real world. For example, question asking in what order we are doing things, the correct answer is not necessarily the solution. Okay, the correct answer might not be necessarily the solution. Let's say they are saying two team members are fighting, and what will you do first? You will say first I will separate them, but separating them is not a solution, right? So, but it's the first steps, right? And then question related to the role of a project manager, right? Then they will ask you, I don't know, there is a conflict between the product owner and the team. What would you do as a PM? Would you coach them, or stakeholders are not agreeing? So the testing to know if you know your role. Okay. Now, hard questions are not different than medium difficulties, right? Hard questions are not different than them. That's why I've developed Barracuda methodology to help students read and track the questions. So, first of all, make sure you read and understand the question, the context of the question. We do have on our simulator a lot of these questions to test, and make sure you are not hallucinating that this is a really hard question, that there is some trick. Usually these hard questions, you see like two or even three options sounds perfect, right? Like these kind of questions, you see two or three options sounds correct, and then usually you need to decode and find the correct answer, right? So usually I'm advising, if you have two questions, they look like perfectly fine to you, ask yourself, what would a newbie, someone who didn't study like you, would pick? If the person will pick A, then there is a high chance that A is the wrong answer. Okay. So if you see two options and you are not really sure, you are like, oh man, this is now. Then ask yourself, what would a newbie pick? If a newbie would pick A, then A is wrong answer. This is just 30% of the questions, right? So you should be able to find. Now, what the exam test, basically, right? PMI does not test your memorization skills. I remember when I was passing the PMP, I passed my PMP with PMBOK. It was PMBOK's fourth edition. It was question like which process come after collecting requirement. We had question. I had personally had questions like that, and then in that case you have to memorize the 42 processes. I personally memorized them end to end. Even though today I still recommend my student to memorize the 49 processes, because I'm asking them to memorize them, not because on the exam they will ask them to memorize, but usually it helps you navigate fast and quick. So okay, now we are in a monitoring session. So in monitoring, I just need to check the KPIs, make sure the team is performing, and so it will speed your thinking process. But it does not mean once you know them by heart, they will help you. They will ask you which is the 43 process and stuff like that, right? So they don't test your memorization skill. PMI does not test your knowledge on a particular industry. That's why usually you have like very experienced project managers who are struggling on PMP exam, because they are used to manage the project very successfully in the companies. And then when they come and PMI is telling them, look, according to the PMI principle, the team has the last say over the project manager. They find it like, no, why? I'm the one deciding in my company. Yes, but here is a PMP. All right. then PMI does not test your common sense. We are not here for common sense, okay? Even though sometimes common sense might help you to find some question, but that's not the point. PMI does not test you what you learn in management school. Those ones who did MBAs and all these, no, that's not the point. And then PMI does not test your knowledge on how to use a particular software or, this is why you see more and more PMI is not asking a lot of questions that require calculations and things like that. Why? Because now we have modern tools. If you have tools, for example, if you are running in your company tools like Jira, literally, no project manager need to draw a burn down chart. When I was when I was working as a project manager back in 2009, 10, 11, you have literally to draw in Excel, right? Generate in Excel your burn down chart and stuff like that. Nowadays, if you are using modern tools, you don't need to do that. They are there for you, right? So they will not be checking these deep analytic skills. That's not the point, right? However, what will PMI test, right? And if you see you are all from different background, but you are passing the same exam. Why? Because PMI test your project management experience, right? Your own job. They ask you, how do you manage people? How do you manage stuff like that? Your understanding of PMI vocabulary. That's why you need to wear the PMI cap when you are preparing for the PMP exam. Your ability to apply experience in different scenarios, your ability to apply key formulas, even though this is coming less and less, still you need to understand some formulas, your understanding of professional responsibility, for example, the question related to ethics and professional conduct, and your understanding of project manager role, right? So this is the text is all what PMI is testing you, right? Now, with the new exam coming up, PMI has added many type of questions. Some of the students, some of the candidates, they are used to, I don't know, some kind of simulator who are just like one leg simulators, right? The same type of the question, same type of the question. However, the exam is not just like that, right? So what are the type of questions you see? On exam, I would say 80% of the questions are just like this. You have the question and one is correct. 80%, or at least the majority of the questions would be this style. And then you have other questions where one, two, or even sometimes three are correct. But usually PMI will put in bracket, choose two, choose three, choose four, right? And then you have, these are new, they have added, this will come in 2000, from 1st July, but however, they might be testing it already. They call case or scenarios question. They will give you a case, right? This will require, you have literally 1 minute, 20 seconds to reply a question, usually. But these kind of questions will take you a long time. My advice is never spend more than 2 minutes of one question. If one question is taking you 2 minutes, we'll come back to that, right? So this is long questions. And then you have also what is called enhanced matching, right? You have questions like this, then you have to take this one and drop wherever it's required, and so on and so on. So if your simulator does not have these kind of type of questions, I'm not saying it's a bad one. However, you should know that there are other type of questions on the exam, right? So you should be ready for that. And then there are graphic-based questions. This is also something newly introduced that you have to be aware of. And then there is point and click. It means you have a question like this, and then you have to click or wherever the correct answer is. So most students are not familiar with this type of questions on the exam. And unfortunately, when they start the exam and they start seeing questions like that, they panic already, like, oh, Jesus Christ, what's going on? However, these are really minor questions, right? So if you miss one or two and you do well on the type you should be fine. right? And then there is also matching questions. So this is like, it's called drag and drop. So you take this one, pew, and then you put here. You take, if you think this one, you drop it here. You take this one, you drop it here, right? So it's kind of matching. And then last, there is a drop down, right? So you have a question, and the drop down complete or is the correct option. So this is the type of questions you will find on the exam. Now, very important thing, time management, right? Some candidates are struggling with this. They can't finish the exam sometimes. And this happens to most candidates who never actually exercise full exam before they. Some candidates believe that if they are on study hall, for example, they do 50 questions many times, 100 questions, 20 questions, it's enough. I am strongly recommending you to make sure you do at least 4 times full 180 questions. Because if you are not, the exam is not, sometimes people fail not because they don't understand the topic, they fail simply because of mental tiredness, right? You are not used to run 180 questions. Then all of a sudden you have to be there from the time you wake up to get to this testing center. For some people, it take an hour. So you wake up 1 hour before, then get ready another hour. So 2 hours before you get to the center. Then you have like 4 hours in total to take the exam. That's like 6 hours where you've been up and fully concentrated, right? So at some time the brain is simply tired. If you are not used to practice like this and get used to it, you will simply at some point you'll be like, okay, the brain is just tired. So please make sure you practice. Don't also wait last minute. I've seen also candidates who, for some reasons, they start the PMP exam, then they disappear for ages, and then all of a sudden they come like, oh, I need to clear this in 2 weeks because I need to travel to Canada, or I need to do this. And then within 2 weeks, they try to do everything, and then it doesn't work. Because I'm always saying value upgrading your skills. If you want to conduct PMP, don't focus on getting the certificate. Yes, the certificate is good, but you should rather focus on upgrading your skills, right? Understanding new way of running your project. Literally, anyone that is doing PMP should automatically upgrade their way of managing things at work. Because it doesn't make sense that you are studying PMP and you still manage things the way you used to. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I think this should be improving your way of working at work, and then you see that this become obvious to you, right? So now let's look how you should manage the exam. So when you go on the exam, you have, till today we have 180 questions. That's like 230 minutes with two times 10-minute break. Each question should take you about 1.1 minute 20 seconds to complete. So usually, if there are two ways, if you do let's say, let's focus on those one who goes to the center, examination center. You go to the Pearson View Center, they will check your IDs and all these. And so you start. You will start from question 1 to 60, right? So you should be around 75 minutes. If we divide this by 3, this should be 75 minutes, 1 hour, 15 minutes. Once you hit the 60 questions, there should be a pop-up asking you, do you want to go for a break? You should say yes. Do you want to review some questions you marked for review, right? So if you have marked question 35, 38 for review, you can go back. Let's say you finish the 60 question exactly around 65 minutes, and you said, yes, I want to review. As you are reviewing the question, the clock is still ticking. So maybe you'll finish the review around 75 minutes, right? And then you go for the 10-minute break, right? Some people think by not going for break, they will save 10 minutes. No, it doesn't help, right? This 10 minutes is a bonus. If you take it, great. If you don't take, you lost it. I strongly recommend you to take the break. Why? Because for the 60 minutes you've been thinking fast and furious, fast and furious. This is a golden opportunity to give your brain a break, even 5 minutes to think, breathe deeply, oxygenate your brain, and then carry on again. So as you come back, you should have the next 61 to 120 questions. Your time should be around 160 minutes. And same thing, right? Do you want to go for break? Yes. Do you want to review the question? Yes or no? And then you go for second break for 10 minutes. And when you come back, you 121 and 180 question, and then you submit. After you submit, you will have to do some kind of survey in your exam. Then once you finish submitting uh, the exam, before we do that, so personally, I'm recommending 80, 80, oops, 80, 70 rules. What it means. Usually when you start the exam, you can be slow because you are just like, on the simulation, maybe you are fast. However, on the exam day, the whole stress is mounting because you're like, oh, this it's serious. We are human beings. This you can't fight against. So you might be slow. If you are slow and then you start lagging to 80 minutes, you shouldn't even panic. It's okay. You should be doing the second 80, or sometimes even you can even go to 85 here, right? And then 85, 75, and 70, right? So it means the more you progress, your speed should be better, and then you finish the exam in time. Okay? And once you submit, if you do the test in the examination center, they should print you a report like this. You will not see the result on your screen. Once you finish, you go to the reception, they will give you a report. And my expectation is that you should see these four letters, and then you can see above target, above target, above target. So most of my students have this kind of result. If you fail, that's not the end of the world. You don't fail because you are stupid, or there are many reasons why you could fail. I've seen candidates who went to the exam and there were noise in this examination center, or there were some internet breakdown and many things that will deconcentrate you. However, if you do the exam online, let's say you are not going to the examination center and you do the exam online, you will not get this report. You will get your report, PMI saying 48 hours, but they will give you the result actually in 24 hours. Okay? So this is the exam, and then of course you should get your result and this kind of tracking and so on and so on. So you see, this is a very good example that you do not need to pass all the areas in order to be successful. So you can score above target in process, target on people, and even below target on business environment and still pass. So they are making like a compound average, right? So this is the end about general topic on PMP. Do we have any questions so far? Is there some question? If the exam is online, will you see the result? No, you will not see the results online. You have to wait 24 hours until you receive an email from PMI telling you congratulations, you have cleared your exam, right? Are you able to wear noise canceling headphone? Yes. If only these have been provided by the examination center, but you cannot wear noise canceling device on your own. If I don't know if there are Ivorian here. My company is setting up an examination center in Abidjan, and this is something we plan. We plan to have also noise canceling headphones, and also the room to make it quite silent, right? So some centers are well equipped, some others not. So it really depends on the infrastructure that the center has. And this is not, it's really about the contract between the center and Pearson View, not PMI. Can I have the presentation in French? Yes and no. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, we will see. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? And again, if there are people here who are passing the PMP exam in French, please, it doesn't make sense to practice with English questions while you're going to sit the exam in English. It will disturb you. So you can join. Today I have a special offer for you, discount. You can join my study groups and we will help you. We have French simulator. We have also English simulator, completely separated. So if you are, yeah, like do the exam, and we've seen also some French speakers who, for some reason, prefer to pass the exam in English, right? They are French speakers. However, the English is not, I would say, top level, but they want to do it in English. I'm also saying this is shooting on your leg, because on the exam day, you don't have time to be questioning yourself what this word means. You really need to be fluent in English to clear the exam, even though PMI way of writing question is for non-English speakers. I mean, like when you construct the questions, they are asking you not to use heavy English. They make it so that most people will understand. However, it requires you to, it's not the time to think what this word might mean or not. So it's, if you think your English level is not so proficient, please do. There are so many offers on the market with French simulators and so on. Do go there. Don't try this, because it's just like. And again, I discourage people who think, yeah, I have 3 I will go first one. If it doesn't work, I will take it second time. Because look, if you fail the PMP exam, what happens is that you lose confidence in you. Second time is even harder than first time. So make sure you are well prepared before you go, because if you fail, you know, uh, different people react differently with failure, right? So yeah, that's why personally I make sure I have like a very strict process. In my some of my students call me dictator, because yes, I am really strict with the process I put in place. If you follow that process, there is no reason to fail. But if someone for some reason doesn't follow the process and they fail, well, uh, yeah, it is what it is. Okay. Um, is there any other question? Are you able can you pass the exam? Can you pass the exam on first attempt without knowing the PMBOK in detail? Yes, absolutely. I have, like, I would say 70% of my students don't even read any book. Actually, the exam is not based on the books. Did you know that? The PMP exam is not based on the books. The PMP exam is based on examination content outline. And for example, the session today, we're going to focus on 3 or 4 tasks, right? So these tasks, you might know them from different sources, different books, even though I strongly require you to read the PMI official publication, because in there is enough and sufficient information. But it does not mean you need to know every word inside those books. Okay. I'm using PMI simulator, not study hall study. I assume I'm not safe. Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. The only simulator I know by heart is mine, and it's the best in the world. Right? But I don't know simulators, because yeah, there are many out there, right? So the most important is for you to really ask yourself, what do I understand? Are you able to explain risk management to your younger brother? Are you able to explain procurement? Are you able to explain, all these concepts? If you are confident in explaining them, then it doesn't matter on the simulator. You might go on the exam and find out there are quite new set of questions which are not very similar to what you use on your simulation, and you should still be okay, right? And we've seen also some people who have some simulator which are quite close to the exam, but they still fail. So this means the main point is not the question set, even though the simulator is quite important because it helps you, but that's not the most important. Okay. All right. So if you stay up to the end, I have a special offer. Can I get other simulator apart from the study hall? Yes, of course, you can get mine. I passed on my first attempt without reading the PMBOK. I rely on my PMP exam prep by Rita Malkuli. Yeah, why not? So it's possible, yeah. So it's your understanding more than the PMBOK itself, okay? Now, uh, as I said, to pass the exam, you need to understand the project management according to the PMI, right? If you stay till the end, I'm offering up to 30% discount on my simulator. Things you need to understand. This is the project management according to the PMI. If you are preparing for the PMP exam, ask yourself, do I understand the different approach in managing project? How many do we have? How many approaches do we have in managing project? Can you type your answer in the chat? How many approaches do we have? Okay. How many knowledge areas do we have? How many process groups do we have? 3 approaches, someone said, okay? How many principles do we have? Right? So these are few things you need to understand, right? Okay. So we have 3 approaches, but no, it is 5. Actually, there are 5, right? There are 5. And we have here 10 knowledge areas, okay? And then we have 5 process group, okay? And then we have 12 principles. So this is what we see in today, right? And in PMBOK 8, by the way, I'm one of the reviewer of the PMBOK 8. So PMI has reduced, like optimized this. Color. So let me take some blue. So now we have here 3 clear, right? It means predictive, adaptative, and hybrid. And here, come back to how many? Anyone knows? 7. And this has changed name. It's no longer performance knowledge area, it's called performance domain, right? So you see that I'm doing this for you to see that nothing really changes. You should not be panicking about the changes, okay? And the process group remain the 5, but this also change name. They call it now focus area. It's no longer process group, it's called focus area. And the principles have also changed. They are still called principles, but we went from 12 principles to 6. Okay. And overall, why are we doing this? We are doing this for people. But which kind of people? People on the project and people affected by the project. So this is really the essence of project management. As a project manager, if you see it is an initiative run by human being for human being. Whatever the product you are creating or the service you are creating is going to be used by human being. Whatever product or service you are creating, it's going to be run by human beings. So to be successful, you need to know how to lead and manage people who are on the project and manage and lead expectation of people who are affected by the project. That's why they are saying there are certain principles you have to follow. And principle one is that you have to be respectful and servant leader. So look, it doesn't matter whether you are the top number one in the world understanding agile processes. If you are disrespectful to people, I'm sorry, they're not going to do things you want. They will mess you up, right? So on the exam, PMI is asking the same questions. Like when people do not agree or when there are disagreement in a team, what do? You don't impose things to people because, I've explained last week that human being has evaluated. We are no longer in the, 13th century. Even your own children at home, you can't just mess them up anyhow, right? Like we know this because the way we need to, you know, you have to adapt. That's why there are principles. Principles are things, the rules you have to follow. If you don't follow the principles, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to fail, right? At the same time, when you manage a project, you know that there are the process group, like you need to initiate the project, you need to plan it, you need to execute it, you need to monitor and control, and then when it's finished, you need to close. This is why you are a project manager. If you are a pilot will say, okay, you need to check the engine, you need to press this button, you need to fly, you need to land, you need to, but we are here as a project manager. So do you know what to do to start the project? Do you know what to do to plan the project? Do you know what to do to, to monitor the project progress? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. How confident are you to explain these things? And when we talked about knowledge area performance domain, we have many of them: risk management, scope management. Do you understand what scope management means? How do you recognize that project scope is not being well managed? It means you have to be knowledgeable. How do you recognize that the stakeholders are not being well engaged or managed? It means there is a process and a know-how PMI has given you. So if you know it, this is how you should study. So from today, whatever I know people like the simulation, they like to jump on the simulation every day, but yes, jumping on the simulation is good, but first do this mapping yourself. Ask yourself, what do I know? And if you feel like, okay, I'm not really confident what risk means, then you can take the PMBOK guide and read that particular chapter to strengthen your understanding. If you feel like your understanding of hybrid approach is weak, then you read it and strengthen. If you know, okay, the principle, I'm not very confident what they mean, you read the principle and strengthen. So this is why I'm talking about logic first, concept next, important detail later, and arbitrary detail after. Right? Don't start like, oh, please, can you explain to me earn value when I see cost variance? What is the formula of cost variance? I am lost. But why are we doing cost variance in first place? Right? So this is really things you have to do to understand uh, the PMBOK topic. Are we clear? What are the 5 approaches? Yeah, what are the 5 approaches? Good question. So we have predictive, right? Predictive project management. We have iterative. There are a very big difference between iterative and incremental, right? Incremental approach. And then we have agile approach, and then we have hybrid. These are the 5, right? I'm still instructing these 5, and I'm not gonna stop because this really make huge sense, because there are projects which are not really hybrid, or they are purely iterative projects. For example, car manufacturing is an iterative project. Yes, nowadays in car, because the car becoming electrics, so there are a lot of software part. So you could easily say they are hybrid. But before, it used to be iterative. there are kind of nuances, and agile is basically iterative plus increments. That's really, really important to highlight. But PMI is saying 3, so it's 3, but it's 5 actually, right? Yeah, so I hope this is clear to you. One way, right? Oh, sorry. Any questions so far? Do not forget, right? So your job is to manage people on the project and people affected by the project. Iterative and incremental, not agile approach. Yes, but there is a nuance between agile and incremental, right? I'm not sure if you want me to explain to you. The agile project, I will give you, look, you see, when you buy a phone, like you buy this phone, I have an iPhone. What when you buy this phone, usually the first day, you will not accept if there is some crack on the phone, right? You will not accept it. Why? Because this phone, the phone itself has been developed using iterative approach. So they have conducted multiple tests to make sure the product at the end is perfect, because no one really accepts when the phone has some cracks or something like that. However, inside the phone, there are software which have been used, which use agile methodology. It means when you have the whatever is your phone, you see like the next day you see that you have to download some update, but these updates they keep running, so they've been incrementally adding or even upgrading them, right? So I can talk with Nelson and Mimi. We can have a deep agile breakdown, so for you you can understand, right? So iterative project management is usually dictated by the perfectness of the product. So when you have a project where the priority is a perfectness, you cannot deliver the project if it's not perfect. For example, no one buys a car when the car has a default on it. That's why you see even in the manufacturing companies, sometimes they will call off all the cars because they find out there is a huge mistake. That's why they test it first. There is a deep testing phases. I give example of vaccines, right? Why vaccines need to go through a lot of tests? Because you cannot give vaccine which is not properly working to a person, but a software. And the difference between iterative and incremental is, for example, incremental is like building 300 houses, but you will deliver them 20 houses, 20 houses, 20 houses, 20 houses till you finish. While in Agile, you have the possibility to improve the first 20 batches you build. In pure incremental, you will not come back and say, okay, I'm going to increase your rooms. You understand the difference? So there is huge nuances, okay? Yeah, so it's like you can do more research. Use ChatGPT, ask him what is the difference between iterative and incremental, what is the difference, and he will give you, right? So this is easy busy, okay? Right. So this picture, right? So this is it. We have predictive, iterative, incremental, agile, and hybrid project management, right? Initiative. So you have this. This is something you have to follow. Adaptative, basically, what PMI call adaptative is what today is iterative, incremental, agile. So these four is what they cumulated in, just call it adaptative. Like it is a project where the scope is dynamic, right? But there should be, to me, this should remain uh, because it's a huge difference. Okay. And you see, this is the PMBOK 8. It's basically the same. Now in PMBOK 8, people used to struggle with integration chapter. The integration has been kind of replaced by governance. Now they call it governance, right? Finance, the cost has been replaced by finance, stakeholder and communication have been merged, scope and quality have been merged, right? They removed the procurement, but it didn't disappear. It come back to the governance, right? So it is kind of small reshuffle. So basically, it's not the same. You should not be uh, worried, okay? And in terms of principles, they have reduced them from 12 to 6 because there were some kind of redundancies, right? So now the made it's not redundant and so on and so on. So question is, what do you think would be in PMBOK 9? To me, it's going to be the same. Maybe they will name things differently because you can't really change project management. This has something that has been conducting a long time. Why agile is taking more space in exam? Because nowadays with the technology, I'm a software developer from educational background. During my time back, I was graduated in 2003, and in 2003 you see that software development life cycle used to be like every 2 3 years, even sometimes 5 years. When you have like a Microsoft or whatever, it takes 3 to 5 years before you see the new release. Nowadays, software are being released every, I don't know, every 6 months, every 3 months. Like the cycle is quite fast compared to the before. By the time you finish using testing one tool, new one is out there and so on and so on, right? So this is why we need to adapt. We have to be more adaptive to the world, your project which you have in a company. By the time you finish the project, maybe something else come to impact, and then you need to adapt. So that's why we are going through this direction. Okay. So the exam, right? So PMI is really asking you. So okay, you see this ECO is in English. It's not in French because those one was copy of French. So this one is in English, right? So these are the tasks. Right? So, and these are the 49 processes which and in the PMBOK 8 we have now we have a different one, and you have okay. So you have now. We are moving from 49 process to 41 processes, right? We draw that these are PMBOK 8 processes. Now, as we don't have much time, I'm not sure how to do this. I will just go quickly, okay? So, as a project manager, this is uh, yeah. So this is the project for you, right? Your goal as a project manager is to lead this team and the expectation of stakeholders in order to have a final product, right? Question is, what do you do? Your goal is to lead this project and create a final product. And you have people here, people here, people here, and the one who will use this product, right? So it means, how do you lead them? You have to use techniques like what? Leadership, management, communication, and set up the process so the people will follow and even report to people. We get the point. So if you are using agile project management, it's going to be the same, right? I will try to fast track this. So in agile, is going to be the same. You are just using different style, different way. You are breaking down the big ideas into some epics and the user story, but the end goal is also to release here. So you have people here who are expecting your product. You have people here who are expecting your product. What do you do if they don't understand, right? So this is why we are focusing on today's session, meaning how do we engage and support teams that are not in the same location, right? How do you define team ground rule? How do you mentor relevant stakeholders? You will be on the project where you are running project, people don't understand what we have to do and so on. And how do you promote team performance through the application of emotional intelligence? So these are one of the tasks, but we can look here, right? If you look even what PMI is asking you on people management, right? If you look, it's going to be the same. To me, there is no huge difference whether we focus on these 4 tasks or other tasks, right? Look, when it comes to people, you have to manage conflict, you have to lead the team, support the team performance, empower the team, ensure that the team members, stakeholders are trained, build the team, address. So you see, it's what we are used to do on day-to-day basis, right? Right? 1 30 minute wasted to only task. Well, it is for you wasted, right? So if you find it wasted, you feel free to drop out from the call, okay? So I just make sure people understand what we talk about, okay? So, and please just be polite because otherwise I'm not gonna do this again, okay? So now, as a project manager, PMI asking you to engage and support virtual team. Because why? Nowadays, we have to work in a different environment. We have a project, some people are working in different continent. What you have to do, and in examination content outline, PMI has given you steps. First, you need to examine members, what they need. If people are in Madagascar, right now there is some cyclone there. If people are in the US, you need to take into consideration time zone difference. And then you have to investigate what would be your alternative communication and so on and so on, and implement options and virtual team. So I'm teaching you steps how to depict all other you know, all other tasks. You can use the same techniques to understand all other tasks, right? So what it means, when you see on the exam, usually the question will be, they will test whether you know how to diagnose virtual challenges, right? And then things you have to eliminate, immediate tool change without assessment. So as a PM, we don't change tools without assessing them. It's not correct. And why we don't do that? Simply because we manage people. If you are talking to people, you cannot do things which no one agrees to that, right? If you look communication, excessive reporting, micromanagement, right? No one really likes when your boss or your PM is behind you asking you this and that, right? Use an appropriate communication tool, feedback, right? Structure, just like I'm not sure who's called this Megan, who just wrote nonsense in this comment, right? The comments she wrote. This is a proof that she's not a good project manager, or he's not a good project manager. You can also raise your voice politely. This is also the ability of managing team, because if you think your whatever is your position is the best, maybe yes, but if you manage people, you have to be very careful what you say, and this is what PMI will test on you, right? So people with bad behavior usually will not get good marks on the exam because they simply don't understand that human beings need to be psychologically safe. We can make mistakes, we learn from these mistakes and move forward, right? So your job is to engagement. You don't force people. What you do, you encourage inclusion, you build trust, right? Uh, Adaptation. You don't need to set and forget it, right? You need to adapt processes, right? Leadership. What is leadership? Leadership is not about controlling, it's about facilitating, supporting, and removing obstacles. That's why on the exam, when they ask you questions like two teams members are not agreeing to each other, what you should do, right? You should facilitate, you should support, right? So when we take the second task, which is like define team ground rules, if you start a project and you don't set up rules, what happens? Then everyone start to behave differently. And as a project manager, what you have to do, you have to communicate the principles, right? That's why if you see the project itself has principles, you have uh, you have to set up principle, establish environment that forecasts adherence and ground rules. Without rules is anarchy, and then manage and rectify ground rules in case there are some certain violation. So this is how it will look on the exam, right? So first of all, you have to check. You don't impose rules alone. If rule need to be changed, you need to check with the team. Assumption or informal enforcement. You have to make sure you communicate clearly, right? You need to foster respect. When there is something, you don't punish people. Punishment doesn't really last. Yes, there are three ways of motivating people, but it's not punishing them, right? When there is something, you do not rush to escalate, but you have to make sure you address the root causes, and then you do not ignore violation if there are any, right? So uh, to make sure people do not violate the rules, you have to make sure you build share ownership. You are not the only one controlling who does what and so on. So if you build these kind of things, it will foster. And then you have stakeholders, people who are not on your team. Usually they are like affected by the project, right? Sometimes they have even stronger power than you. You are a project manager, you are delivering something for a customer who has a lot of authority. So for these people, when they will ask, let's say, in bracket, not so great questions, your job is to mentor them. You can educate them. We know that, for example, agile methodologies in companies, sometimes you have like executives who do not really understand how to run a sprint, what sprint means. Your job is not to laugh at them. Your job is to mentor, provide support. And this is what is called servant leadership, right? So how do you recognize questions like that on the exam? First, you shouldn't ignore anything due to time pressure. If there is no time, make sure you find time to educate people. And then you should not force people to the compliance. You have to coach them when things are not working. You have to coach and guide people to follow the rules. If there is new regulation, make sure you constantly remind people that this is the new regulation. Please follow the ground rules, right? It's not about authority, but it's about advising. And then you should not base your decision on reactive, but identify and mentor. And when solving a problem, you shouldn't focus only on short term, but look also on long term purpose. So, in summary, right? Okay, there's one more, promote team performance. Your job also is to promote your team performance, right? The behavior. A good project manager is the one who defends his team through the use of data and emotional intelligence. When someone is not performing well in the team, you do not attack them. You have to help by showing the data and find together the improvement way. So self-awareness, being emotionally intelligent means you also should know you should not speak whatever comes to your mind because you are someone emotional intelligent. Because whatever you say, you have to check what will be the impact on other people, right? So stay calm whenever, even if you don't agree. Direct communication should be, I would say, avoid. For example, when you see questions which are focusing on the direct communication, you have to be aware of that, right? Public confrontation. Whenever there is something, first thing you have to do, if you check the conflict management, first find the root cause. You can talk to people one-on-one, and then, if needed, confront them. Confrontation is never the first attitude to have, and so on and so on. So you don't have also one style. You need to adapt your style. For example, if there is a crisis, you need to handle things differently. If there is a peaceful time, you need to build self-organized team and so on and so on, right? So don't also make decision based on your ego, right? You have to make decision based on a decision that support the project progress, right? So in summary, when it comes to people, when you see remote teams struggling, it means you need to think about tools and feedback so that you can help them. When you see rule violation, uh, if you see rule violation, you need to reinforce agreed ground rules. Stakeholder, if you have stakeholder who are confused, then you have to mentor and educate them. You see the task, right? When you see conflict in the team, your job is to facilitate and find root causes. When you see low morale, there are a lot of questions like that. The team morale is low. Your job is to apply emotional intelligence, right? So what PMI will prefer? PMI will prefer servant leadership. Those one who help other thrive, not those one who say, this is the plan, stick to the plan. You have to coach and mentor, facilitate. Facilitation is when you have two experts or three experts not agreeing each other, right? Root cause analysis. You need to make sure you find root cause before deciding. Collaboration is always better than isolation, and continuous improvement is better than sticking to any kind of plan, right? So these summary apply to, I would say, almost all the tasks on the exam, okay? So as I promised you in the beginning, like early this morning, uh, I spent half of the time talking about generic concern on the exam, because this morning when I wake up, I saw a question from a candidate asking whether, I'm not sure, how was it going on online exam, right? So that's why we spend most of the time talking about the exam. Now I have prepared a few questions, okay? We probably not going to cover them all, but if you have some questions, feel free to shut them, and then we can move to the last part, maybe one, two questions, which will check these things we have said, and so on and so on. Okay? Yeah, so let me check. These people, all right. Oh, thank you. I'm enjoying the session today. Okay, I see some people already failing the exam. The way they are sharing feedback. Yes, true. Today's session has been one of my, okay, thank you. Any, just a case of conflict management, how should be resolved if you are the PM? Well, just case of conflict. Well, PMI has described in the, if you see the examination content outline, really, j'arrive. OK, OK, j'arrive, OK, j'arrive. Allez, vas-y, j'arrive. D'accord, d'accord. Allez. J'arrive, OK? Good. So, PMI has given you steps. If you take any given task, there are sub-tasks, sub-steps you have to follow. Samuel, ferme la porte, s'il te plaît, OK? Allez, merci. If you've seen any examination content outline task, it's giving you some steps. So for example, managing conflict, the first thing is that you need to understand the context of the conflict and finding the root cause before recommending any kind of solutions, right? So let's say your friend and your enemy in the group, in the team, are fighting for some reason. Even though you don't like your enemy, you shouldn't be quickly jumping to say you are wrong. If you want, at least if you want to go by PMI mindset, you have to, investigate what happened before providing the stuff. Okay? All right. So I see there are no questions, so let's move ahead. Please repeat about the agile definition of iterative. Well, okay. Well, probably this will take quite a long time. I think I have another session with you guys in March. I might focus on that, or I will share with you at the end. I will put my I will put the agile definition. I mean, like the five ways of managing project. I will add it on this slide and share with you. So again, there is predictive, which we know. The predictive project management is based when the requirements are clear. And then you have iterative, when the given priority is the perfectness of the product. If you want to produce the product that should be perfect at the end, at the delivery, then you need iterative, because you have to iterate until you get perfectness. If your given priority is speed, so you have a project and people want a quick result right now, you can't be perfect. you have to do incrementally. And if you have, let's say, usually software or digital product, you can use agile on digital product. Because when you can do a construction project by using incremental delivery. It means you deliver 20 houses and then another 20 houses and another 20 housing, iteration of 3 months. But it's not because you are using iterative or iteration on your building construction that you are doing agile, because the 20 houses you provided, you are not going to fix them again. In digital product, when you deliver a feature and they start using it, you can improve the feature. On the houses, you will not be able to improve the houses. So we can have a separate session around this later. Okay. So let's do 1, 2 questions and remain 2, 3 questions for the question. Ok. Samuel, arrête de me déranger. Va chez Samuel, s'il te plaît. Oops, sorry. So we finished the minute. So few tips I'm giving to people. Usually, on the PMP exam, there are, I would say, 3 main categories of questions. There are questions which ask, what should the project manager do? Right? Do, it means they want a solution. What should project manager do first, last, next, and so on? The PMI is looking on steps, right? Steps you have to follow. And then what should the project manager should have done to avoid something? Then it means they are looking for a certain plan or strategy that you have to do in order to avoid something. So if we look at this question, what should the project manager do better to support remote team? So it means we are looking for a solution, right? So you are leading a global team, global distributed team in Agile. Team members are in different time zones. So these are questions you might find and have expressed frustration about lack of clarity in communication and feeling disconnected from decision made during stand-up they could not attend, right? So this is common. So anyone working here in a remote environment, this could be common. So what should you do, right? Schedule all stand-up meeting during your own working time to ensure your ability. So this is like deciding on your own based on your own interest. This is like normal person will not do that, right? Assign a representative for each time zone to relay meeting outcome to absentee and members. You could do that, right? But this would be bad management. Why? Because then this guy he will conduct the meeting. Then at the end, you have to synchronize all this information, and you will lose information in between. It might be done, right? But you will lose information. Personally, I have conducted project like that, right? I was conducting a project which was running 24/7. You can't find middle time. So we had like local focal points who run this daily stand-up, and then we find common ground. It looks like stupid idea, but this is not the best, right? Assign a representative, no, rotate meeting time to accomplish different time zone and improve repartition. This is potentially something you can do so that, if you cannot touch everyone at once, this could be, I would say, share the pain, right? And require all the team members to attend. This is like a authoritarian way of going, right? So it makes sense. PMI mindset is there to build psychological safety for everyone, right? So this is next question. Okay, I've seen most people at least find the correct answer. Few people, I think it's correct, right? So the one who choose D is not probably the best. Okay, next question. Okay, we'll finish a minute. Looks like we have a lot of answers. So this is a situation where you have a team performing, and then you need to recognize them through the use of emotional intelligence. As my mother used to say, everyone likes good things, right? Good things for someone means just being kind or saying something nice to them. It will be enough. uh, I remember I used to work for one company, and the owner was really disrespectful. He liked to shout on employees. And then I was advising him, like, look, you see, for example, a driver will or a cleaner will not be someone coming knocking at your door every morning, increase my salary, because there is some kind of ceiling. But those one, they will stay and remain loyal to you if you treat them nice, just by greeting them, calling them by their name, finding out what the family, how the family are behaving, and so on. And this will drastically boost the performance, right? So if we look at the question, what is the best approach for the project manager should take? So this is also, we are looking for a solution. The project manager want to recognize the team, right, effort in a way that also motivate them for future. So if you want to motivate people for future, what do you do? Provide financial bonus to the team member. This is good. Everybody likes money, right? So this is not a problem. Everyone likes money. Nominate, it could be fine. Nominate team members for individual company award. This is not bad, but once you start nominating for individual award, then you are breaking the team for future, because then next time we say, why she got the medal, not me. So they are not hot to be motivated for future, right? Recognize the team accomplishment in a team-wide meeting and document it in performance record. So this is the collective, is a collaboration. So this sounds good, right? And then offer additional day off to thank the team to their work. This is a type of question where almost every option sounds good, right? But in this case, which option is cheaper for the company, right? Financial bonus, you need to go miles and maybe ask for some approval and so on and so on, right? The thing you could do with nothing is just to do the C, right? By recognizing them in public, they will be happy. And, everyone, that's why in the military, they give medals to people, right? So when you come from war, they give you a medal. People are happy to go and fight again, right? Okay. Sorry, I'm watching my kids from because they are making noise down there. So, uh, right. So let's do last questions and leave the last 7 minutes on the other question. Okay. Last question for today.
Yo, sorry, can you hear me? No, sorry.
I've been speaking all while without
Yeah.
my. Oh, sorry, guys.
So you have to bring us back like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, I mute my microphone from here. Sorry. Okay. So I was saying, like, if any of you are managing project, you will see these are quite often things we face. Once the team start working from home, this is something we feel, right? Skipping some daily coordination to allow people to think this will put them further idle, right? Revisit the team charter. This sounds good to do, good things to do, because once you have the rules, this is one of the tasks we discussed today. Require the team member who miss the team or do not turn the camera on to explain the actions, right? This sounds like repressive, right? Or, I mean, punishing or, dictating, stuff like that. You could get the same result, but different way, right? Discuss active engagement in the next sprint. This sounds good. And then discuss effective engagement and collaboration method at the next retrospective meeting, right? So what do we do here? Between discussing active engagement, this definitely is good. This is not bad. Discuss effective engagement and collaboration. So if you are doing PMP, when you see word collaboration, please do not eliminate this anyhow, right? This is one quick tip. When you see collaboration, do not eliminate. What collaboration mean? It means literally anything good. Collaboration means someone will work harder than other one. Someone will, like you are helping each other, right? Collaboration method at the next retrospective. And retrospective, it's also a good thing to do because then people feel free to speak why they are not being engaged. Maybe there is no internet, or when they turn on the camera, the internet speed is low, so that they can explain all these things, right? So the correct answer here would be set up ground rules and have a retrospective so everyone could express themselves in order to move forward. So we can end the session here. I have other questions, but it's okay. Again, the goal of this session was to give you, let's say, I would say, a way to work toward your end. Understand the logic, and then you can use the artificial intelligence, AI, and even do the same thing I've done with some of the remaining tasks, right? And then the, literally, if this is done well, you should be able to crush the exams on your whatever simulation you are using. Okay. So if you are also interested only on questions, I think Nelson and Mimi could organize those type of questions. And I think the goal here was really to help you to break down, because many people think the exam is based on the books, but it's not, right? So yeah. Is there any questions? We still have like 3 minutes or something. If you have questions. Mimi, do you think it's possible to unmute people who have questions?
Yeah, we'll take maybe one or two questions.
Yeah.
We are not at the end of the session. So if you want to ask a question, either drop it in the chat box or just raise your hand. I will open your mic for you to ask the question quickly. Yeah, but we have rather appreciation from John. Thank you so much, Ogai Soe. You are running us in project management by teaching us logic first, which is fundamental to gaining mastery of anything. That's awesome. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, from Awano.
Yeah, so as I said, if any of you are ready, again, I have one of the best simulator you could ever get for your exam training. You can test yourself with my free 60 questions and see how you do, right? I dropped the link there. You can register and get access to the questions, 60 questions, test yourself. If you score above 80%, it means you are really, really good. It means you are very close to your exam, right? If you score anything below 50%, it means you need to really re-strategize on your study process. Maybe you are just starting, then it makes sense. But if you've been studying for long and you score so low, you need to revise your way of studying. Okay.
Awesome. All right, so Mr. Abalo, so I guess time is up. So
Yes.
maybe what I'll do, I can't see it, I'm sure. All right, so definitely,
Well, confirm if there is a mark for getting one option right and wrong when asked to choose two. Honestly, I don't know, and I think no one knows because PMI does not disclose this kind of information. And on my simulator, If you are asked to choose two and you get only one, you don't get the point. You fail the whole questions. I'm sorry. Like this is how I see it, but I'm not sure how PMI is doing that. Okay, no one knows. Hopefully, they award partial point. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. For those who will subscribe to the free questions, we will have a special offer for you, 30% discount if in case you want to get support and prepare your exam, whether in French or in English. We do have full videos where I explain each and every concept one by one to allow you to understand. Don't be in rush because you just want to clear the PMP exam. Yes, it's good, but make sure you are ready. It doesn't make sense to be fast when you are going in the wrong direction. That's it for me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abalo. Thank you very much. And this is much appreciated. So that's the moment to show your gratitude, the audience. Thanks for staying up to the end of the session. So, Mr. Abalo, we appreciate your time. Thanks again. Thanks for managing and sailing through even this the appointment from one of our member, but yeah, definitely. So thanks again for sharing the question and the opportunity and the discount for those who subscribe. So on this note, I would like to thank you all and just tell you that we are going to meet again next week, Tuesday, for another session with another instructor. And on these notes, have a nice end of evening, nice end of day, depending on where you are, and see you next time. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Coach. See you.
Thank you. Thank you. And once again, in case you get to the questions and you see some French stuff, we will fix all tonight, right? We do have full English videos and so on. Maybe it's a mistake from my team, but we have like a extensive developed process in French, not in English, but we are catching up. Okay. Allez, good night to all, and talk to you soon.